Okay, France, I get that you want an alliance, but I just feel like the League of Nations is getting nothing done.
Hey, at POTUS, you're not even in the League of Nations.
You know, I would love to help, but I wasn't invited.
Are you experiencing severe loss of sovereignty? Have you ever felt as if your League of Nations was missing something? Do you feel like nothing's getting done to prevent world crisis? Are you tired of the commitment that comes with serious alliances, but still want the benefits? Look no further.
We're here to tell you about the new and improved Legion of Friends with Benefits. The Legion is an organization that strives to improve international relations. The purpose of the Legion is to create an all-inclusive body that promotes peace and diplomacy amongst nations through communication and, when necessary, military strength.
Wait, Gerline, that sounds a lot like the League of Nations. How is the Legion any different?
Good question. It's no secret that tensions between the nations of the world have never been higher, and with good reason, seeing as we just went through the worst world conflict in history. While the League's purpose is to resolve these tensions, it was not able to execute it effectively because of Article 10, which required nations to give up their sovereignty. Additionally, some nations, like Germany and the Soviet Union, weren't allowed to join. The exclusivity of the League not only heightened animosity between nations. Here at the Legion, we believe that all nations with peaceful intentions should be represented. Plus, no nation would ever be required to involve themselves in world conflicts. The Legion allows for nations to maintain their sovereignty while still working together to smooth over the relationships that were torn apart in the early part of the 20th century.
Be wondering, how can the Legion not have collective security and still manage to keep the peace? The League of Nations didn't even try to enforce keeping the peace much of the time because collective security was so unpopular. Here at the Legion, we know that good friends share with each other. Now, with the Legion's new policy on military sharing, the Legion will have its own supply of reinforcements to effectively protect nations whose freedom and safety are being compromised. How does it work? Each nation present in the Legion will contribute a portion of their armed forces and military weaponry proportionate to the size of the country. Not only does this provide a substantial military backing for the Legion the League of Nations never had, it promotes some of the demilitarization policies suggested by the League. This improved military policy implements the principles of demilitarization as a method of bringing about peace in the world and decreasing tensions between nations. Militaries are proportionately reduced across the board, but none of the weaponry and technology is destroyed or wasted. Instead, it goes towards the Legion as an organization of peacekeeping.
In addition to all nations with peaceful intentions being present, it is necessary to include an international court system in the case that conflict does arise. Should conflict arise amongst two nations, the court system will enlist an outside nation that is unbiased to the conflict to mediate the decision. Meeting for the International Court will be held in neutral territory in Bern, Switzerland. The General Assembly, consisting of one representative per nation, will meet once a year on the first Tuesday of September. This meeting will consist of going over changes to international policy, changes in membership status, and military statistics. Represented in the General Assembly will be all nations that are present within the Legion. In addition to the international court system and the General Assembly, there will be a crisis team. This crisis team will consist of a representative from the United States, Germany, Russia, France, Great Britain, Italy, and Japan. The goal of the Crisis Committee will be to resolve any internal conflict between member nations as soon and as peacefully as possible. Whether the conflict is an issue involving diplomacy or just relations, the Crisis Committee will be equipped with military support to enforce their decisions.
The The Legion of Friends with Benefits is the next step in working towards a world where all nations can effectively communicate with each other, working towards world peace.
While the League of Nations had good intentions and was a nice idea, in practice, the League had many flaws, like the lack of real enforcement abilities and the notion of collective security that threatened the sovereignty of many nations. Did you zoom in really?
The Legion of Friends with Benefits will strive to uphold the ideals of the League of Nations, but doing so in a way that protects the sovereignty of every nation, in a way the world can really take seriously.